Okay, we're starting a series about the maybe just some basic understandings of this human model that you're trying to work through. You know, we seek to and want to live in God consciousness, God love, God peace, God everything, right? Is that not our goal? These guys say yes, you guys are undecided. Okay, well, y'all, that's our goal. But you know, our human nature sometimes gets in the way, and sometimes we find ourselves being caught in moments where we feel disconnected from the divine, or moments when we find ourselves not acting the way we want to act. Okay, so that's what we're going to look at this entire month. Yay, God! All right, so the first week, we're going to be talking about thoughts. So I want to start with a story in the Aquarian of Jesus, and it's probably a familiar story. This is chapter 84. Jesus had been teaching the people, and he left the synagogue at the hour of the evening prayer. In the Jewish faith, there were certain times when they prayed. And so he went up to the sacred grove, and all the people turned their faces toward their holy mount and prayed. So everybody was praying at this time. As he sat in silent mood, a voice of soul spoke to his soul, asking for help. He heard a voice ask for help. And Jesus saw a woman on a couch in sore distress, for she was almost dead. She was sick unto death. She could not speak, but she had heard that Jesus was a man of God, and in her heart she called on him for help. Jesus helped. He did not speak, but like a flash of light, a mighty virtue from his soul filled full the body of the dying one. And she arose, and then she joined her family as they prayed. And her family said, "What are you doing here? Were you healed?" And she said, "I do not know. I simply asked the man of God in thought for healing power, and in a moment I was well." And then the story, of course, went everywhere. And Jesus said, "The greatest power in heaven and earth is thought. God made the universe by thought. He paints the lilies and the rose with thought. Why think it strange that I should send a healing thought and change the ethers of disease and death to those of health and life? You'll see far greater things than this, for by the power of holy thought, my body will be changed from carnal to spirit, and so will yours." And then he disappeared. So, in the story, we see the world questioning him for the first time about how is it possible that you can heal through thought. The story gives us an idea of the power of our thoughts. Jesus said, God made the universe by thought. He paints the lilies and the rose with thought. Why do you think it's strange that your thoughts create your reality? Why do you think it's strange that the things you think about happen? See? All right. One more I want to share with you. This is 109. Jesus is talking about the Pharisees. Pharisees seem fair, but they are kind of diabolical in their hearts. They seem to think that thought is something they can lock within themselves. They do not know that every thought is preserved within the book of life and will be revealed at any time the Master's will. Every thought and desire in the dark will be proclaimed in the bright of day. In the judgment day, when all the books are opened, these men and every man will be judged not by what they've said or done, but by the ways in which they used the thoughts of God and how the ethers of eternal love were made to serve. Okay? Thoughts. All right, so let's talk about us. Thoughts, we know we have them, right? We know energy follows thoughts, right? Intention is the key to the universe, and energy follows thought. So what you think about draws energy to it. All right? But let's look, while we're walking with this journey today, you are the chooser. Thoughts do not choose you. You choose thoughts. We came into this world and we're born into this physical vehicle, and we have this beautiful computer. There's this beautiful computer, our brain. Gathers data, gathers data, gathers data, gathers data you will never think about. But the thoughts that come into your mind are thoughts that you are choosing to think. You know, they say that you walk into this room, and in this room, your brain counted every brick in that wall. It knows how many bricks are in the wall because your brain gathers data. You will never think about that. Thoughts are conscious, and then they go into the subconscious. Okay, so we are the chooser of our thoughts. Say, I know that. All right. Thoughts. Okay. Thoughts are vibrations of beliefs. Thoughts create consciousness, and when you put energy to it, it becomes a belief. So a thought, repeated, gathers energy. Energy follows thought. It becomes a belief within your body, and it becomes an energy that creates your consciousness. Can you see how you could build good thoughts and you could build blocks by focusing on something that is not necessarily for your highest and best? Now, words will bring into acceleration a manifestation of your thoughts. You know, people will say, don't say it, don't say it, don't say it. Because once you say it, you're literally calling it forth fast. But if you keep thinking it, it's still manifesting. So Spirit gave me this vision to give you guys. Think of either an umbrella or a cloud around you. That is your thoughts. You walk into a room, and there's this little cloud around you, and that is vibrating the thoughts that you're holding and the thoughts that you're perpetuating at that time. And you know what I'm talking about, because you've gone up to people and said, oh, what's wrong with you? Are you okay? And I'm fine. No, you're not, because I see the cloud of thoughts are vibrating really low around you, and you're worried about something or whatever. You know what I'm talking about? But we see that in others, but we don't see it in ourselves, do we? We don't recognize that what we're focusing on internally is creating a landscape. What if you could actually hear the background noise of your thoughts? You would be scary. It would be scary. Okay, so thoughts are the umbrella, the cloud under which we live. Energy follows thoughts. They are the building blocks. So I wanted to talk to you this is a little bit of teachy. So can you handle teachy? Yes. Okay. All right. Some of our thoughts, these are thoughts and maybe how to get out of them, okay? Sometimes you do circle thoughts. Boom, ba da, 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 da. And you keep thinking the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. Some people call it ruminating. Some people call it, worry, over and over and over again. What that is doing is drawing energy to the experience that you're wanting to create. Do you understand? Shoulda, woulda, couldas. Shoulda, woulda, couldas. Shoulda, woulda, couldas. And if you can't go back and change that situation with that person, that shoulda, woulda, coulda, you're going to draw them again in another face with a different name. So you shoulda, woulda, coulda differently. What we need to do when we're having those ruminating thoughts of the circle, begin to understand, I am the chooser. I can rewrite the story. I've told my clients this in counseling. Change the ending. Change the details. Even if it actually happened and you see someone coming up to you and they're mad, if you start thinking about it, see them coming up to you and they're happy. I just need to tell you this thing that really upset me. Change it. Rewrite it. Write a different ending to it. If you will do that, guess what will happen? The circle stops. Because now I have a direction and an answer that feels good to me. And the circle will stop. And what have I just done? I've energized a positive solution. You guys got it? Okay. All right. There's another type of thought. Paul Solomon, he was a teacher, philosopher. I don't even know. He might have been a medical doctor, healer. He was very, very famous back in the day. He came to our church one day back in the day. And he was very sweet. But he said this, and I've never forgotten it. He said, your thoughts are like sheep. So sometimes we have the sheep thoughts. And the sheep thoughts follow each other. So I always give this example in my classes. Like you could be looking at a pencil, and you look at the lead, and now you're thinking about a mine that the lead was mined in. Now you're thinking about crystals that came out of the mine. Now you're thinking about a crystal that came from India. Now you're in Tibet. Now you're meditating. Oh, now on a mountaintop. Okay, all right. Now there's a wind, it's blowing, it's cold, you're on the mountaintop. Oh, now I have a blue wrap. Reminds me of a blue coat I used to have. when I went out west. I might need to go back out west from pencil. And that is forever. The sheep, poop, 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 following. And that might sound funny, but you do it all the time. Are you aware of it? Yeah. And you end up thinking about something that has absolutely nothing to do with the original contemplation. Sheeps. So you have to ask yourself, what do I need to learn here? Is there something that I'm missing? Am I just comforting myself? Because that's comforting, isn't it? And then this, and then that, and then this, and that. Because I don't have to think about anything critical. I'm entertaining myself, perhaps. Better than the phone, better than your TikToks. I'm going here and there, and here and there, and here and there. Yeah. And I was never in Tibet in this lifetime, but I can certainly be there in my brain. Do you see? So when we are in the sheep mode, catch yourself and ask, do I really want to create this? Do I really want to follow energy? Or am I having fun? What am I accomplishing? Yeah, let me go for it. Be conscious about it. Okay, be conscious about it. Energy follows thought. Words call into manifestation. They direct, and they direct with focus. When you are doing your sheep, do you want to speak? No, you don't. There is no reason to tell people you're in Tibet on a mountaintop. Get out of your sheep flow before you open your mouth. Okay. Thoughts are the environment in which you live. It's vibrating and attracting all the time. Those are your two examples of types of thoughts. Let me tell you now the vibration of thoughts. And there's a bunch of thoughts, but this is just something to give us some tools to start changing. Thoughts are also associative, and they associate with other conditions. I had this personal example that happened started last year. Very rarely am I the last one here. I'm often the last one here. Very rarely am I locking up and I don't have work to do. That I go home and I don't have any more work to do. Because normally I go home and I work on the computer for another hour or so. That's just my life. But on those days, I was it happened very oddly. I was locking out. I had nothing else to do. I was the last one here. Put a key in the door, and this silly little song came to me that I learned in my first year of German in the 7th grade. So it's this silly little German song. And then I'm singing it, blah, 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 and I go, I don't even like that song. Why am I thinking of that song? I have no connection to that song at all. There was one song I really liked. Think of the one you really liked. Could not bring it up for anything. So I thought, that's very interesting. Then it happened a couple of weeks later. And then it happened about the 4th time it's happened. Like, why am I singing this song? Fuchs, du hast die Gans gestohlen, gib sie wieder, hey! And it's about a fox stealing a chicken. And then it came to me, it's a low folk song. When I was in 7th grade, we sang maybe once every 3 or 4 months. It wasn't regular. But when we sang, the work was over. We could relax, we could have some fun with it, and it was hard. It was a hard class. I aced it, but still it was hard. And my work was over, and I got to sing. And I thought, holy moly, that is why that little song is coming up, because I'm revisiting a moment in my mind where the work is over and I get to rest. The sad part is I had to go back 50 years to find something that resonated that way with me. But do you see the association of it? So sometimes when we have these random thoughts, especially if they're repeated like that, ask, what is it telling me? What is it telling me? And it hasn't happened recently. Of course, I've been working a lot recently. And it may never happen again because I got the association that it was simply a time to rest, time to enjoy, time to let everything else go. Are you guys getting it? Association? Okay. Sometimes it's informative. These thoughts are very, very telltale, and they repeat themselves. So you'll be thinking, you'll be cruising in your own world, minding your own business, and all of a sudden you'll have a vision of something that either occurred or a place that you visited. And like, why am I thinking about that? I have nothing to do with this anymore. Okay, I'm going to let it go. And then you're cruising along the next day or so, boom, the thought's back. It's like, why? There's a simple way, and maybe we can't get to the cause of why it's coming to your brain, but I can guarantee you there's a reason it's coming to your brain. What I have learned to do is to pull the energy back. Even if I see a scene that's repeated, a place, a situation, I will eventually, once I recognize it, I will say, whatever I did there, if I was in error, I forgive myself. Whatever I did, I'm going to pull my energy out of it, and I'm going to give whatever energy I have of it back to it. Disconnect. Do you hear what I'm saying? Whatever energy I have in that memory, I'm going to pull it out, and if I'm holding its energy, I'm going to give it back. Disconnect. It can be that simple. And that simply brings your energy home. And how often do we leave energy scattered throughout the universe? So this will bring the energy home to you. The other thing is connective. You always think of people, don't you? Random. Oh my God, where'd you come from? I haven't thought of you in years. There's a reason. And as a child of God, when you think of someone you haven't thought of, what can you do? Send them love. Send them love. They may be reaching out for the only one who can send them love. They may have put a prayer up to the universe and said, God, I need some love right now. And that was the one person who could send it to them. There was a man, there was a man that I knew a long, long time ago before I was married. And he and I were really good friends. He was an airplane mechanic, and he was a good guy. And I was divorced, and it was a lonely time for me because I was alone for a long time. And I just said, God, I am just so lonely. Please, I just need some love somewhere. And God went to Bill, knocked on his head and said, send Cindy a letter. Because he was a dear friend of mine. And he said, look, I've been everywhere I turn around, I see you. So I know I need to just reach out, make sure you're okay, sent me a letter. We communicated for about half a year. Do you hear what I'm saying? To get me through the hump. What if Bill hadn't responded? Even though God was giving him my face, what if he hadn't responded? He helped me get through it, because he didn't live in Georgia, lives another place, but he helped me get through a very, very difficult year just by being my friend. See? So when you get the face, it may not be that they've reached directly to you, it may be they've reached up. Because I wasn't reaching to Bill. Nowhere, he wasn't in my mind at all. Do you hear me? Okay. But whenever someone comes to you, always send love, because they're reaching out to you for a reason. And if they come to you and it was a bad ending, or there's bad blood between you on any level, what do you do, people? But you forgive first. I forgive myself for whatever I did to participate in this bad blood. I love you, I forgive myself, and I'm going to send you love and let them go. Okay, got it? Your thoughts are really powerful, aren't they? Yes. You think we are the chooser, but our thoughts are working with us to lift us up. Okay, and then there's the reminder thoughts that always come. Remember, you have to go to the grocery store. Yeah, I got it. Remember, you have to clean that thing you said you'd clean. Yeah, I got it. Those are the ones that we dismiss the most.
The honey-do list?
No, they're not the thoughts from your wife.
Same thing, right?
No. They're the thoughts from the universe. They're the thoughts from what you've committed to do. You've already chosen to do these things. And your brain goes, remember the choice you made? We need to act on that choice. And those are the ones you really can't get rid of. Just have to acknowledge them and then decide to take action or decide to erase them. I've decided I'm not going to do that. Erase. Got it? Okay. I'm moving quickly here. In healing, if you take a class with me, we always talk about faulty thoughts. And faulty thoughts are thoughts that we have believed to be true that do not allow us to be healthy. If I believe I am less than on any level, that is what's called a faulty thought. And that less than faulty thought will block the energy from moving through me. And so if I believe that I am a worm of the dust, spiritually, which was kind of how it was taught back 100 years ago, and then I say I am a child of God, I have contradictory thoughts, do I not? So I have a block and I have a forward thought. And they're going to fight for space in my brain. Until I turn this one to this one, I'm a beautiful divine worm of God. I'm a beautiful, divine, holy being of God. Call me what you want. You know, until those become one, we have that energy of a thought that is blocked. Your blocking thoughts, your faulty thoughts will in fact come to your brain, especially if you're trying to do forward motion things, especially if you're saying, I'm a child of God, God loves me, wealth comes to me now, I'm healthy, happy, whole. Oh, I just had a bad thought. Erase. Erase doesn't cut it. You need to look at the thought and say, why did I believe that? Because one time I did, or it wouldn't be there. And what do I want to change? Acknowledge that I believed it, and now I want to change it. I want to believe something different. Okay? All right. I will give you one other clue. When you are having unpleasant experiences in your world, there is a faulty thought creating it. Instead of fighting, squirming, getting mad at yourself, simply choose to experience life with ease in God love. No matter what it is I have to experience, let me experience it easily in God love. You hear? Because the experiencers are also showing you thoughts. Okay, see how I'm getting it? Rewrite, redirect the energy, and fill it with love. Always rewrite it. Always rewrite it. Rewrite it, rewrite it, rewrite it. Okay? Got it. Okay. Many thoughts, when we're thinking our thoughts, will open up and lead to divine revelations. And sometimes we just have to allow ourselves that moment. You know, I had one this morning. I was getting ready, and I don't know why I was thinking about it, because I'd already prepped. I'm talking about thoughts, and off I go. My little lammies, my little sheep were just going for it. Sheep to sheep to sheep to sheep to sheep. And I had this thought. I remembered when David was in college, and I had this thought about one of the things they learned, and I had this thought, and it was all related. There's a proverb that says, teach a man anything, and one man will know. Teach a woman anything, and the whole tribe will know. Because she will teach. She will teach her children. She'll teach anyone who wants to learn. Any female, if you go to any female that cooks or does anything or does something and you say to them, hey, they'll go, yeah, I'm going to teach you. It's what we do. Go to a guy, I'm busy. Go learn from your ma. I don't know. So I had that thought. The tribe will know, the people will know. And then this thought came like this. That's why we tell you stuff, Cindy, because you will teach it. The divine mind moving through me in that moment. And I cried and I felt humbled. But do you hear? I had to let the sheep take me to that, and then it dropped in when my brain was out of the way of worrying about the Sunday service. Those divine thoughts can drop right in the middle of your thoughts, right in the middle of what's going on. And if we ask to be connected with divine mind, to be connected with the divinity of thought, we've opened the door. We don't have to effort. We've opened the door so it can happen all day long at any moment. Divine mind connecting through our mind. So in the Aquarian, it says, this is what Mary and Elizabeth's teachers told them to teach John and Jesus. Again, teaching the mothers. Teach John and Jesus. Teach them that God and man were one, but that through carnal thoughts and words and deeds, man tore himself away from God. He debased himself. He separated. God and man were one, but through the thoughts of man, when man's thoughts are, get away from me, God, guess what happens? The divine moves. Divine's everywhere, but the divine moves away from your consciousness. When you say, come, be in me, you're open for the connection. All right? When Jesus is learning what a healer is, it says, the virtue from the hand or breath may heal 1,000, but love is queen, and thought, reinforced by love, is God's greatest sovereign balm. When your thought has love on it, it can be directed, it can attract, and it is the healing element for all things. Thought surrounded with love. And then it says this in chapter 11, they're talking about prayer. The fount of prayer is in the heart. By thought, not words, the heart is carried up to God. Our thoughts connect us to the divine and to the material and to all the layers in between our thoughts. You know, science says we think the same thought. We think, 1 million thoughts a day? And we think the same thoughts every day, just over and over and over again. But that's because we're not opening to that divine thought. So explore what's happening to you, like we just talked about, but let's see if we can lift up. I encourage everyone, reach to something higher, even if you read a chapter in the Aquarian or read a book that inspires you spiritually or talk with someone about something spiritual, anything that lifts your energies up to spiritual and you're entertaining thoughts on a spiritual level. You're opening up the ability to hear God greater. And God does not talk to you through me. How does God talk to you? To you. Through your heart, through your thoughts, through your experiences. God talks to all of us, through all of us, but you don't need anyone to connect with God. Just you, your thoughts, your beliefs. All right. Our thoughts create our reality, and we are walking around in a cloud of what we're thinking. When you dress yourself tomorrow, dress your cloud. Because we put our colors on, our makeup or whatever. Dress your cloud. I'm going to wear a cloud of God love. I'm going to wear a cloud of goodwill to mankind. I'm going to sing a Christmas carol. Whatever. But dress your cloud. Because we all have that mix of thoughts, but we are the chooser. We're the chooser. We're the one that gets to choose which ones are vibrating. And if we choose the light and we choose the divine and we choose the love, then the other lower frequencies will naturally get smaller and naturally fall away. Without conflict or confrontation, just naturally fall away. Aren't you powerful beings of light? Yes. You are the thinker who thinks the thoughts that changes your world. All right, let's go within. Take a breath and just feel that beautiful love of Father, Mother, God. And I want you to imagine a beautiful column of light coming over you. Imagine it, image it in. And I want you to imagine a color. Even if you cannot see the color, if you cannot see it, feel the color. Imagine it. You can recognize the vibration of this color. Imagine it. And I want you to imagine that you are in a beautiful, safe space. Beautiful, safe space. And there is a beautiful energy all around you. And imagine that you can bend down and pick up a flower. And I want you to pick that flower up like you're picking it off of its little plant. What color is your flower? What kind of flower is it? How does it smell? The flower you have received is a blessing from your brain, from your thoughts. It is bringing you something that you need today. hold it for a moment. And now imagine you can look up and feel the light of God's love pouring through you. Father, Mother God, move through our thoughts now. We ask that one thought, one divine thought, begin to vibrate in our consciousness. And just imagine, feel, think, hear. It may just be a vibration like a bing, but you know what it is. And that is the gift from Father, Mother God today. And breathe in that thought. You have the spirit thought, and you have your flower. Let your focus just go to your heart. I love myself. I am God's child. And I choose life, joy. And I'm grateful. Thank you, God. Take a breath. Feel the energy of the column around you. It may have changed. See if it's changed color or vibration. In your mind, put that little flower in your heart. Feel the word that God gave you in your heart. I am ready to create my world. All right, let the chair support you. Let your awareness come back to your feet. And we love you, God, and we thank you. And we thank you, Jesus Christ, always. And so it is. Okay. Well, I hope you got a nice flower. Did everybody get a flower? And a word? Okay. Work with that today if you can remember it. Sometimes they go in, when you put them in the heart, they go really deep. But see what you can do. And watch your thoughts, your homework. Watch your thoughts this week. Say, yea, God.